Today we're going to talk about Pentax Super-A. Now, Pentax is one of those brands that sort of, I don't know where to sit it. It's got Canon, Nikon, and Pentax is, I don't know, they never were quite really as prominent, I think, in the market as Canon and Nikon's name, but they made amazing cameras, and they made, and they're still making cameras today, which is more the point of anything. One of the things, I mean, the Pentax name actually comes from contact. Fundamentally, I think at the end of the war, there was some licensing rights, names up for grabs, and Pentax's original was a shunt optics, a shy optics. Doesn't really go over in a marketplace, so they bought, hopefully that's the way of saying it, maybe, I don't know, there's different versions of how they got the name, but they took it off of contact. Basically, pentaprism, and tax for the contacts, give them Pentax, which was a really usable name in the European markets and America, obviously where they wanted to sell their cameras. And they had a long history of cameras beforehand, and they made some amazing lenses, the Takamuras and things like that. So obviously after 1972, when Olympus dropped the OM1 in, which was a tiny camera, everybody had to sort of rethink what they were doing with their camera sizes. I think Pentax took it a little bit too far, but in a good way. Basically, they created the Pentax Super-A, and there's another one which is a manual version as well, MX maybe. Anyway, these things are the smallest full-frame SLRs ever made, and in fact, by volume, which is sad that I've actually know this, the Super-A is the smallest one of them all. Now, what did they do? I mean, you can see it here. If that goes into focus, will it? There it is. It's tiny. It's much smaller. It's smaller than an OM1. It's incredibly portable. And it's a marvel of actual engineering. They had to make some concessions in a way when they made this, because obviously you've got all the standard components that go onto the top of a camera plate. So you've got an ISO dial. This doesn't have a shutter dial. What they did, they transferred the shutter dial into a pair of buttons, which basically you tab up, tab down, which saved them an enormous amount of space. If you can see it. Is it going to go? There you go, on the top of the camera. We'll have a look at it on the table in a minute. But yeah, they're great little cameras. Top shutter speed of 1/2000th. Really portable, really compact, just a great design. They do have a few problems with electronics over the years. The shutter buttons, I believe. I mean, there's a classic one where you get the indicator strips go up and down, and half of it is to do with the fact that people put them on shelves, they don't use them. So I mean, it's one of those cameras you need to use. Use it or lose it type thing. But no, fantastic little package, and really, even today, you just can't go wrong with one of these things. You get a working one. They're just so portable. I mean, I've got a 43mm 1.9 Pentax limited lens on it, which is a great lens. It makes it absolutely tiny, but there is a 40mm pancake you can put on the front, which makes it literally the smallest package you've ever seen. I did have the 40mm, but the 43s, I can live with the 43. It's a beautiful lens. So there you go. So I'll have a look at it on the table, and then we'll come back. Okay, so this is the top-down view of the Pentax Super-A. Yeah, so going from sort of like left to right here, over here we've got exposure compensation, and this is done by just turning the knob, and then you've got your exposure compensation. If you lift the wheel, that changes your ISO. You can see there underneath there's an ISO, and it's on 200. There you go. And then you've got your rewind. And then over here, now this is the bit that's interesting. Obviously, because of the size of this camera, it's so small. What they had to do, they had to lose something. So they lost the shutter dial. And how they do this is you've got these modes. So L is lock, A is aperture priority, the auto is aperture priority, you don't have to deal with this. Obviously moving the ring at the front. and then the shutter speed is automatically chosen for you. M is manual. Now, if you put it into M, you obviously got full control over your aperture, but then you use these two buttons here to tab up and down with the shutter speed. So it sort of flashes at the top, flashes at the bottom on the LEDs. As you tap up and down, when it stops flashing, you've got the right exposure. You've got mechanical mode here, which is 125x, which means that you can shoot the camera, when the batteries go, you can shoot the camera in that, and a bulb mode. And you move everything around, you have to push this little white button down. You can see it, my fingers on that white button. Push it down to move it round between all the positions. There we go. Then it pops up when it's on the right one. Cocking arm, and then you've got your indicator here for how many you've shot. On the back, that's going into focus, you've just got normal stuff, but you've got this tiny little thing here that shows you the window, that shows you the film advancing. Okay, if that's not spinning around, then you've not fed the film onto the spool properly. However, there's one thing about this. I won't open it. I've got film in this at the moment. This has those. They're called magic fingers. They're like rubberized fingers you stick the film into. Not a fan of that, but it works. Okay, let's turn it over to the front. Okay, so we've got a timer here. I can't remember how many seconds. And then we've got your basically either that's with the shutter flash things on top. That's probably, I always get this wrong, either remote release or it's a flash thing. And then there's our lens. What else is on there? That's the release for the lens there. Turn it back up again. And that's it. On the bottom, we've got space for winder and also batteries here. Two standard SR44s, and also over here, push button to disengage for rewinding your film. Really, really basic functions. Great little thing. And you can see it's like tiny. I'm going to bring another camera into shot here. I'm going to bring its big brother in, the Pentax PZ1, and you can sort of see, look at the size of that compared to that. That's like a tank compared to it. Anyway, there you go. Pentax Super-A. Put that there. So yeah, so amazing small camera. Brilliant to shoot with, extremely portable. It's got great functions. And yeah, it's one of those ones where, if you just want to chuck something in your bag for the day, then, and you don't want it to weigh anything, then this is it. I mean, Pentax has got some great lenses, and they made some great cameras, and this is I think one of their key moments with camera production, where it's making this thing, because it's tiny. It's a really, really nice camera. So if you can lay your hands on one, I really would, I'd say go for it. Anyway, thanks for watching.